Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Some big news here, and not surprising to me personally, but attorney John Deaton absolutely is intervening in the appeal process regarding the SEC v. Ripple case. As everybody knows by now, of course, the SEC decided to appeal, then Ripple decided to cross appeal. And by the way, in my very last video, I shared specifics about what Ripple will be appealing because they did file their Form C document Thursday night. So if you want to check that out, I'm not going to be delving into that in this video. That was my very last video, so feel free to check that out. But attorney John Deaton is jumping into this as well. And I have to tell you, like, well, of course, not surprised, but I have to say, this, I don't know how he does, how is he milking like 30 hours out of a 24-hour day? How is he even doing this? This man is busy. Mind you, he is running for Senate currently against arguably the worst sitting senator in the country, Elizabeth Warren. He's running to take her job, and somehow he still has time. Because that's a full-time job. That's more than a full-time job just doing that. And somehow he still has time to jump in here because he feels this sense of obligation. Just what an incredible guy. Like, I mean, to have this sort of value system, man, I wish it weren't so rare in our species. It's just incredible to see this. So I'm going to share with you what attorney Deaton had to say about this specifically, because he did share a post. Also, I want to highlight the SEC's most recent delay tactics. That's right. They are trying to push back, and they have been. The conclusion of this whole process with the SEC and Ripple, they've been doing everything they can, literally for years, to push this back, and they're still doing that. Just wait. They want to just filed in a document literally yesterday. They let the court know that they want to file their initial brief, excuse me, in January. So we'll get into it. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Hold on, folks. I apologize. Let me take a sip of some water here. That came out of nowhere. I have been talking a lot lately, though, so sometimes it just kind of dries you out a little. Excuse me. So here's this post yesterday evening from Fox Business journalist Eleanor Terrett, and she wrote, "New, a filing for an appearance of amicus counsel in the Second Circuit rendition of SEC v. Ripple has just appeared on the docket." And here's a quote from attorney John Deaton to Eleanor Terrett. "Senate race or not, I don't walk away from what I started." When indeed he doesn't. I just don't know how he finds enough time in the day to do this. Like, I'm impressed. I'm just saying, I'm impressed. But here's what he wrote about this. This is from John Deaton now. "Judge Torres, a lifelong Democratic judge who Senator Gillibrand fought to get on the bench, appointed by Barack Obama, unequivocally ruled XRP itself is not a security." And that's a quote. XRP itself is not a security. "And sales of XRP on exchanges like Coinbase are legal. In fact, XRP is so legal, Chris Larson, who was personally sued by the SEC, along with Brad Garlinghouse, over personal sales of XRP, just donated millions of XRP to this would be this is Kamala Harris official. Yeah, there we go. Vice President Kamala Harris at VP through Coinbase, which is also being sued by the same rogue, out-of-control SEC, led by an unethical, corrupt chairman in Gary Gensler. By the way, the SEC is suing Coinbase, alleging Coinbase's business model is illegal because it allows the transfer of tokens like XRP to others, similar to the transfer of XRP made to the Vice President of the United States of America." Of course, 2 years prior to alleging Coinbase is running an illegal business, the same SEC, after learning the specifics surrounding Coinbase's business model, made a specific determination that accelerating Coinbase's IPO was, in fact, in the public's best interest. If the above doesn't make your head spin, like the possessed girl in the movie The Exorcist, and prove just how ass backwards the current regulatory environment is in the United States, I don't know what is. And by the way, I'll actually pause a note. I don't know if it'll pop up. Yeah, there we go. Somebody did post it. That's the scene he's talking about right there. You know, the special effects back then just they don't really hold up well. You know, the test of time thing. much more realistic looking if this were created in 2024. But you know what? They did the best with what they had, right? At the time, technologically speaking. So anyway, Attorney Deaton continues. Judge Torres cited to the almost 4,000 XRP holder affidavits I submitted to the parties and cited my efforts in the library case in footnote 16 of her decision. I did all that work pro bono, and I've never made a single dollar as a crypto attorney. Senator Warren literally mocked my pro bono work during the debate when I mentioned that I had worked for free trying to assist the 75,000 token holders who had joined me, including 627 who live in Massachusetts. Yeah, by the way, folks, so I actually was able to catch both of those debates live. I watched it all right as they were unfolding. The number of times I rolled and did the face palming, all that stuff. Mike, I've lost count. She is just straight up lying and twisting. It's just offensive. Acting like it's just a bunch of billionaires, crypto billionaires that want to support John Deaton. No. What about the 75,000 XRP holders represented by Deaton who thank him for what he did? What about that, including 627 in Massachusetts? And he's right. She mocked him for doing this for free, helping those people in that state. What a gross senator. I really hope he takes her job. Anyway, so then he wraps up by saying, well, she can laugh some more because I intend to continue to represent them in this ridiculous appeal made by the SEC, either as a sitting U.S. senator or as a private citizen. Someone has to speak for token holders, and it's an honor for me to continue to be that person because America must be a leader when it comes to innovation. Quite little golf clap there. Yes, absolutely. You'll love to see it. And again, not surprised. I'm just impressed because, he's running for Senate, folks. I just don't know. Now, I know that he was slammed before this too because doing this all pro bono, he was still running his business. But now he's doing all of that, I guess. It's just insane. You'll love to see it, though. You absolutely love to see it, right? Then we also have this from attorney James K. Filing. He shared this yesterday. The SEC has requested that the deadline for filing its principal brief be January 15th, 2025. And so here you can see they simply wrote, pursuant to local rule, blah, 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 Appellate Cross Appellee Securities and Exchange Commission respectfully request January 25th, 2025 as the deadline for its principal brief. Okay? And Fox Business Journalist Eleanor Terrett noted the following. Pretty normal procedural stuff here. The SEC is requesting a deadline for its principal brief pursuant to blah, blah, blah. Okay. So nothing out of the ordinary there, but January? January, right? Well, here's what Attorney Hogan had to say, and the sarcasm from Attorney Jeremy Hogan is just oozing here, and it is delightful. Here he wrote the following. It would be a true shame if the SEC slaves over and finishes the most awesome brief ever written on January 15th, only to have the SEC chair changed by the new president on Inauguration Day, January 20th, and the whole appeal dropped. That would suck. Yeah, so obviously if there's an administrative change, we'd probably, at least potentially see Gensler exit stage left. Now, I don't know. He's such an entitled little D-bag. Who knows if he'd just try and stick around. But, there's strong precedent for, an SEC chair to just bow out if there's an administrative change. That's what happened with that asshat prick Jay Clayton. As soon as Biden was elected, then he exited towards the end of December before Biden had even actually been inaugurated. He was president-elect at that point. But it certainly is the case that they could put all this work into this, and then maybe it just won't matter in the end. Because if you can see the tides are turning, and especially if we really do end up with a new SEC chair, which is, there's a reasonable chance that's going to occur, this could all just go away anyway, and I wouldn't mind seeing that. Now, here's a post from XRP community member Sherry, and she simply wrote, FYI, this is not the SEC asking for a delay. The date is within the 91 days that the court allows per local rule 31.2. And so she is true, and I dispute zero of that. In fact, she shares exactly where she got this information from. There's a screen grab on your screen now. And so this isn't a delay tactic in that they're asking for additional time outside the bounds of what would have otherwise been set. However, the SEC absolutely could have done a number of things to make this process go quicker. And in fact, I got a post from Attorney Bill Morgan I want to share with you, exactly hitting the nail on the head with that. And so the SEC could have had this sooner. They didn't have to say it could have been this year. So it's not technically a delay, and I do not dispute that. I'm just saying the pace with which the SEC is proceeding is a little turtle-like. It's a little turtley. It's a smidge of turtle in there. So here's what Attorney Bill Morgan had to say. SEC, we request to be allowed to drag out the appeal as long as possible until the next crypto bear market. If the SEC always intended to appeal on programmatic sales, it has had since July 23rd, 2023 to prepare a brief. And I'm assuming, unless he means a specific date, the 23rd, that I don't recall, the actual XRP Victor Day was actually July 13th, 2023. So either there's something that he's referencing that I'm not aware of, or maybe he accidentally typed the wrong date. Either way, I just thought I'd mention that because somebody else might be scratching their head too. But his points are not lost on me. So check this out. He also wrote, this is either primarily about delay or the SEC is not confident in its prospects. Judge Torres' decision is increasingly receiving positive comments in the SEC cases against exchanges. So wouldn't the SEC want to push it along and have the decision on programmatic sales reversed as quickly as possible? So folks, let's get paused to ask it. Isn't that a pretty damn good question? Given that courts are actually affirming the Torres decision, which he does, given that keeps happening now, don't you think that the SEC would want to move this appeal process along faster to prevent other crypto cases from being like, yeah, Judge Torres was correct? Don't you? Because that's damaging the SEC's position every time that happens, right? Don't you think they want to prevent that? Why are they going so slow here? A little peculiar, huh? It makes me wonder, did they really not know whether or not they were going to appeal this whole time? Did they really not? Anyway, and then Attorney Morgan says, the SEC filed its notice of appeal towards the end of the 60-day period from the final judgment of Judge Torres on August 7th. It filed its Form C so late last week, people argued for days whether it was a day late. Now the SEC wants the maximum 3 months to file its brief, 5 months after the final judgment. Is the motive for the appeal delay itself, or is the SEC not really confident in its own prospects? Since the case started against Ripple in December 2020, the SEC has continually filed documents at the last moment and regularly sought extensions of time. Maximum delay is concluding the legal process, right? And so even though this isn't a technical delay, because again, if it were a technical delay, they would have requested time outside of what the court would normally allow. That is not what happened here. So Sherry's certainly correct. But are they doing everything they can to drag this thing out as long as possible and delay in the sense of dragging it out? Yeah. Look at how many instances Attorney Morgan cited here. Yes. They have no interest in rushing this along, because the process, certainly, especially true in the first case, SEC v. Ripple at the district court level, the process is the punishment. And so that's still true here. It's still costing Ripple money. And then on the SEC side, what do they care, right? It's just the taxpayer footing the bill, right? And they're a bunch of asshat pricks, so they don't give a damn. These are terrible creatures that nature accidentally made. What do you expect from them? So there we are. I won't be surprised if there are actual delays requested during this case. I will not be surprised to see that at all. Let me know what you think. That's the latest. Thought the Deaton news is pretty damn cool, though. So, set that aside from the pace at which the SEC is seeking to proceed here. That's not so fun. But the Deaton news, that's pretty good. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.